Okay, so today's Google Meet is going to be fairly short, and because there's not a lot to talk about, we are starting Chapter 3 today. So you should be on 3.1, taking the notes on 3.1, and then working on the assignment. The next quiz is going to be on next Wednesday, so a week from today, over 3.1 to 3.3. I have the tests. The tests were automatically graded. I've moved those grades into PowerSchool. They're also in Classroom. If you think there's been some sort of mistake in your test grade, then let me know. If you want to see, if you want to know which problems you got wrong, send me an email and I can pass that information on to you. The one thing that I wanted to bring up is I'm going through all of the Chapter 2 assignments right now, all the missing assignments and late assignments, I guess is more accurate, all the late work right now, and getting that updated. I'm hoping that before I leave school today, I'll have that updated. So your grade will be up to date by in the end of the day. If you think there's a mistake or something, you think I missed something, please let me know. Send me an email and we will, or a message and remind, we'll figure it out. I wanted to go through the warm-up for today, so hopefully you gave that a try. And I want to talk about I want to go through that right now. So let's go to today's warm-up. Try to. Okay, so today's lesson is on graphing quadratic equations, which quadratic functions graph parabolas, all right? And there are important aspects of parabolas that we need to understand. So the first one that is going to be asked about, we've already sort of talked about, it's zeros, all right? So what are the zeros of this function? The zeros of the function are the x values that make y 0. In other words, they're the x-intercepts, okay? So if I want to know what the zeros are here, it's 5 and -6. So for the answer, we just put x equals 5 and x equals -6. The next one, it's asking you what is the x-coordinate of the maximum? Well, we can actually figure that out because this graph is sort of interactive. So we can find the high point is right there. The x-coordinate then is -0.5. So x equals -0.5. If you were just approximating it, that would be fine too. It looks like it's at about x equals -0.5. If you were off by a little bit, it'd be fine. But remember, a maximum is a high point in the graph. So that's the answer to that one. And the question that is probably the most important here is, in terms of making sure you understand it, is the domain and range question, because domain and range is not going to go away for the rest of the year. We'll be looking at lots of different functions, and in all of them, we will be analyzing the domain and the range. So what is the domain of this function? Well, the domain is going to be all of the x values that are covered by the graph. Well, for this graph, it's everything, right? Every x value is going to be accounted for. This parabola is going to go forever to the left, forever to the right. So the domain is all real numbers. You can just type that, all real numbers. All right, what about the range? Well, the range we're actually going to have to think about a little bit. So let's analyze this one a little more carefully. It is not all real numbers. All right, so the way I like to think about it is, what numbers are not in the range? Well, you can see, like, if I asked you, is 7 in the range? You'd be like, well, no, 7's not in the range. It's like, there's no graph there. How about 5? No, 5 isn't either. There's no graph there. What about 3? Yeah, there is. In fact, it starts at 3 or a little bit above, but let's just say 3 for now. All right, so yeah, it starts at 3, and then you can see that, like, if I asked you, is -2 in the range? You'd be like, yeah, it is, because the graph crosses y equals -2. What about -5? Yep, that is too. In fact, this graph is going to keep going down forever, so it's going to be all real numbers, because, as I just said, this graph is going to go down, down forever. So that means that it will be all y values that are less than 3. Okay. So let's get rid of that. The way we'll write that is we'll just say y less than or equal to 3. Right? And actually, sorry, we should have used math type here. So y less than or equal to 3. So if you got any questions about that, be sure to let me know. Otherwise, good luck on 3.1, and I will see half of all